This video is sponsored by Skillshare.
Now, when you hear Bloods and Crips, it probably conjures up images of palm trees, California sunshine, a lowrider driving down Slauson, or a Compton low-rise a la Boys in the Hood. Or maybe it makes you think of the modern-day Bloods and Crips like Pop Smoke, Woo walking and mobbing around the streets of Brooklyn rocking nothing but blue paisley, or perhaps you think of that fake New York Blood 6ix9ine who did nothing but run around screaming Treyway. But I tell you what you don't think of, and that's the grey, rain-soaked blocks of South London. Now, a lot of people in the UK have thrown up Blood or Crip over the years. Most notably the crew CGM, formerly 1011, of course home to teenage drill extraordinaire Digger D, and the likes of Rack 5 and Sav O. Ironically, the Ladbroke Grove area of London that they're from used to be a Blood area. In fact, the leader of the Ladbroke Grove Bloods ended up getting 9 years in jail along with 15 other Bloods for going on an armed rampage during the London riots where they even ran through a Michelin-starred restaurant.
London 2011, a night of rampage, the moment a year ago to the day when a gang of thugs terrorised diners in a smart restaurant. A mob of 50 youths armed with knives, poles and baseball bats tore through a restaurant in London's swanky Notting Hill.
The Ladbroke Grove Blood Gang were out that night, the night of August the 8th, 2011, for more than blood. They stormed a casino, terrorised an entire restaurant, smashed their way into an off-licence and beat the manager with a bottle.
Now, this was around 10 years ago, and in the decade that's followed, young G's from that area have come through and set up their own crews which are much more focused on modern-day drill music. So 1011, who were actually barred from making music at one point due to a court order, later went through a rebrand and ended up being called CGM, who in 2020 ended up causing quite the stir on social media when member Rack 5 was spotted online repping the Crips a little too hard.
Crip shit, blue shit, yeah? We ain't no blooders, we're crippy, yeah?
The Crip eyes, he's got the Crip blue eyes. The Crip blue eyes.
No, so woo! None of that. My dogs, yeah? Crip shit. You know we winning this shit from the Grove to the south of the Acton. Get it? Banging. We're ganged off. We Crip man down, yeah? We Crip man down for shit, for anything, yeah? Kill man. Murder man!
Now, many people actually thought that this false claiming wouldn't be tolerated by the real Crips in the US, but in a strange turn of events, New York Crip rapper Dave East actually ended up co-signing these antics and used Rack 5's Crippin' Frenzy as the intro to his song My Loke. Now, it would actually turn out that this online Crip fest was really just part of a marketing rollout for Digger D's song and music video for the track Woy, which basically just played out as a wannabe Crip mood board. They had blue rags, blue flags, hell, they'd even rented a blue American lowrider. But apparently, Crippin' really isn't anything new to these lads, as pictures of them cripping years ago have apparently been floating around Reddit for quite some time. Since Woy release, there's been endless speculation as to whether CGM are really just false flagging for clout or repping a genuine Crip heritage. Because to this day, their members continue to rock blue paisley rags, throw up the C and shout their signature UK Crip catchphrase, Blue Woo! Another famous UK drill crew that have recently been throwing up the red rag on some blood shit is Tottenham's beloved OFB crew hailing from the Broadwater Farm Estate. An estate which I have actually had the pleasure of visiting several times to do interviews with OFB artists like Abracadabra, Bando K and Double L's for No Jumper. In fact, last time I went there, I even made sure that I had my blood rag on me just in case I needed to rep the set. With this leading to a moment of world-class cringe when I pulled out my blood rag in front of Double L's on the block.
That's where I come from, what I'm talking about. Come on, out here, come on.
Trust me, you see what's going on there.
What's that? So the blood heritage also runs deep with the OFB crew, as their set historically descended from other Tottenham-based crews like Bloodline and Star Gang, which both over the years borrowed inspiration from the American Bloods too. As a result, many OFB members throw up that red flag and reference it in their music, with their recent banger of a song, Which One, being a regular old Bloodfest too. The thing is, OFB have historically been beefing with a crew called Wood Green that naturally rep green, and as far as these modern-day drill crews go, there's not really a Blood versus Crips beef, and they're really just kind of paying homage to the American Bloods and Crips who I assume they relate to because they also live that dangerous lifestyle. At the end of the day, a lot of the red and blue rags that are thrown around in hip-hop today are really just there for clout and style points, and I'll be honest, it does make for a pretty good music video. Woy woy woy! But if you think that historically there has never been a genuine Blood versus Crip gang war in the UK, then you are mistaken. Because in the late 2000s, there was a deadly beef on the streets of London which has been mainly forgotten by this this generation of drill fans. But make no mistake, the original war between the British Bloods and Crips took place back in the day where there were far more guns on the streets of London, making it as bloody and as deadly as any Blood versus Crip war that you might see all around the world. So today, we're going to be taking a closer look at London's forgotten gang war between the Outre Bloods and the ABM Crips. But first, a word from our sponsor.
We do skills, not drills. Shout out Skillshare to keep it real. We do skills, not drills. Learn online with this amazing deal. Skills, not drills. Find your new passion, see what appeals. Skills, not drills. Just try one class and see how you feel. Try Skillshare out. They got bare courses, thousands, wow. Find something to learn about creative people. Chase skills, not clout. The community is fire, no doubt. Sign up, see what it's about. If you're lacking in skills right now, join Skillshare and end that drought. Life comes at you fast. You might need new skills when times get hard. Some jobs don't last, but if you've got good skills, then you've got a good chance. Skillshare is a blast. Some courses will help improve your art, like this one from Nicholas Smith. I checked it out and it goes real hard. Artivism, it's about creating inspiring art for change. Rather than protesting all day, make some art that'll move and sway the viewer into seeing things your way. Whether you're an artist who just paints or use Photoshop most days, add a new skill set to your trade. You can use Skillshare wherever you want. Level up, get where you belong. And there's no adverts while you watch. That's why Skillshare are the gods. So the learning never stops. Skillshare will have you prepared for the ops that think they know way more than you, but you know for a fact they do not. Gang, click that link in description and sign up for Skillshare Premium membership today. The first 1,000 people will get 30% off of the annual Skillshare membership. Their creative challenges and productivity classes can help you structure your time and set up achievable goals. You can learn a new skill, enhance your creativity, and you'll be helping support my channel. It's straight fire. Thanks Skillshare. Thanks for watching. Peace. Skillshare.
Detective DJ Vlad must have been on an international assignment when he caught up with Brixton drill legend 6-7, because in that interview they got talking about the early days of the Bloods and the Crips rolling in the streets of Brixton, with 6-7 explaining it kind of didn't work out between numerous different sets that were trying to claim different American gang cultures.
Brixton no Bloods, Blood set. They tried to do the Bloods and the Crips before.
They used to.
Oh really? Wow, yeah, they tried it. Too much areas tried to be Bloods, and they don't even know each other.
Now the main and most notable Blood set back in the days of early Brixton gang culture was the 031 Bloods, aka Outre, aka Trizzy Wizzy. Yeah, Trizzy Wizzy. Now, it has been alleged over the years that there was some kind of link between the Outre Bloods and the New York Bloods, but the fact is, this crew of UK Bloods were never officially sanctioned by the West or East Coast Bloods in America, and they really were just going about it on their own. Now, apparently the founder of the 031 Bloods was also a founding member of another well-known Brixton gang called PDC or Peel Dem Crew, but he broke off and started banging Outre Blood after he had a falling out with another founding member of that crew. And that founding OG of the 031 Bloods was a guy named Tanner. And I know what you're thinking, yes, he was a rapper, and yes, he begun to rep the Blood Gang in his music videos. And look, I know this music video looks super trash, but these were the early days of London's road rap movement, so please don't expect press play quality from these videos. Anyway, the Outre Bloods were plugged into numerous South London areas, mainly Brixton and parts of nearby Stockwell. But much like many of the American gangs that we have discussed on this channel before, over time they begun to build alliances with other South London crews. This included the Patmore Gs from the Patmore estate, crews based at the Hartington estates, G Street from the Gaskell Street estates, the Studley Road estate, ABG from the Albion blocks, and the Killer Gangster Bloods or KGB from Dorset Road. Not sure which KGB I would want to knock on the door from less, to be honest. But anywho, what are Bloods without Crips? And well, the Outre Bloods had a vicious rivalry with another crew called ABM, all about money. They were a crew that rocked blue rags and had a serious beef with 031 Bloods, though they didn't all necessarily identify strictly as Crips, with ABM being mainly based in the Stockwell Park area, sometimes referred to as Hotspot. And much like the Outre Bloods, the blue rocking ABM crew in South London also had their alliances, including parts of Peckham which were nicknamed Gunspot, as well as a number of crews that went under the banner of YFE or Young Fully Equipped, with several of those crews repping blue and some even labelling themselves outright as Crips. That included the Claptown Crips, Murder Zone, Acre Lane Campaign, and the Dorset Road Crip set, the last of which toe-headed beefcake Ross Kemp actually went and visited in his classic old show Ross Kemp on Gangs, in a scene which I can't help but find a little bit amusing.
So, I'm off to meet the South London Crips.
Most of us bang the blue, innit? Blue, yeah. Yeah, that's cripping.
So, now we've met the Bloods and the Crips of South London, we can take a look at the bloody tit-for-tat beef that went on between them. Now, while these events took place some time ago, it's quite hard to piece together consider exactly why or what they were beefing over. And I assume things went a lot deeper than simply red versus blue, but a lot of things have been brought up in the different news articles relating to this, whether it's drug debts, wars over turf, or personal get back for bodies that have been dropped in this beef before. But regardless of why it was going on, what we do know is that several grisly murders played out on the streets of London in the late noughties and early 2010s, which authorities and the media considered to be connected to this Blood versus Crip feud. One of the better known early casualties of this war was 15-year-old Billy Cox, who was shot dead in his home on the Fenwick estate in Clapham North in February 2007.
There was no sign of a forced entry. Billy clearly knew his killer. Police know that the back door was open. The belief is that the killer used the back door as an escape route, and forensic teams have been pouring over the flat for the whole day.
On the 14th of February at 10 AM, I said goodbye to my son before going to work. Sometime after 3 PM, my daughter telephoned me and she was crying. Billy, my son, had been shot. His life was taken at such a young age.
Apparently this shooting occurred not too long after a text message exchange with a rival gangster. But the police pointed out that there were no signs of a forced entry, meaning it was highly likely that the crime had been committed by somebody known to him. And insanely, the murder investigation into Billy Cox's killing saw 2 people arrested a whopping 12 years after the crime had taken place. And it doesn't even appear as if anybody ever went to trial over this. Not long after the Billy Cox killing, another teenager named Abukar Mahmood was chased and killed by around half a dozen hooded youths on bikes before being fatally shot in the neck. It was reported after this incident that he was apparently not involved in any gangs, but the 031 Blood members had incorrectly identified him as a rival member of ABM for an unknown reason. Another deadly incident not too long after this was the murder of Leon Nelson, an alleged South London Blood who was stabbed to death in Crips territory, apparently over a £250 drug debt, in an effort to send a message to the streets, with Nelson's killer Musa Khan apparently breaking down the ongoing South London Blood versus Crip rivalry in court testimony. A month after that killing, Nathan Foster, aka Bowser, was shot dead on Marcus Garvey Way, allegedly by members of the Murder Zone Crips. This happened apparently after he had tried to defuse a disagreement over a stolen gold chain. Some of these stories really drive home just how senseless and brutal the killing has been in this early war. And I know that a lot of people think that the UK is a gun-free haven of pillow and butter knife fights, but the next incident shows you just how easy it is, or at least was back then, for those involved on both sides to get their hands on serious firearms. Because another slaying took place in October 2007 in 031 Blood territory, the Studley estate. And it was here that 21-year-old Robel Tueld was shot dead with a modified Uzi, a case which was made even more crazy by the fact that the person who did the shooting was a rapper who went by the name Killer and was found to have released songs with lyrics about killing people with a mini Mac. Unsurprisingly, Killer was found guilty of murder and jailed for life. But even with Killer behind bars, the killings continued well into 2008. Another notable incident was the murder of 18-year-old Freddie Moody, aka Mischief, an alleged 031 Blood associate from Stockwell. He was apparently caught lacking outside of his home by members of the Dorset Road Crips, who pulled up on bike, stabbing him fatally, with Freddie ironically having been pictured only hours before his murder at the annual Summer Splash water fight party in Holland Park. But if knives and machine guns weren't brutal enough, in 2009 this feud went biblical as gang members begun to use animals to kill their ops. In this case, a massive gang fight between the ABM Crips and the 031 Bloods had broken out in Larkhill Park, South London. This led to a shocking incident where members began to use dangerous dogs as weapons, sicking them on their enemies, mauling them to the ground, where they would then repeatedly stab them. This incident left 16-year-old Seyi Ogunyemi dead, a young man who the papers described as an 031 Blood soldier. He'd been attacked alongside his 17-year-old friend who had also been stabbed 9 times but miraculously survived. This was reported by the media as a mass knife fight, with numerous people receiving stab wounds. And hell, even the dogs were getting stabbed. They're trying to smoke that lassie pack. The news report on this incident at the time acknowledged the ongoing war between South London's Bloods and Crips, and for the record, the 22-year-old man responsible for this killing was given life in prison, with this being a landmark conviction in the United Kingdom because it was the first time that a dog's DNA was used to convict a murderer. I'll be honest, I'll take getting shot up with an Uzi any day over getting mauled by a dog and stabbed. This whole incident was allegedly a revenge attack for another attack that had been carried out earlier that day. But basically, the British Bloods and Crips were wilding out all over South London, and if you didn't want to catch a stray, you'd best stay inside. In fact, it turns out that the American rappers visiting England weren't even safe either. In fact, you might have heard a little-known story where Joel Santana was allegedly kidnapped by UK goons when he came here to play a show back in the day. Well, it was actually these very Outre One Bloods that were responsible for this jewel snatching incident.
Jim Jones, Dan 4-5, Jim Jones, yeah. And I ain't talking the States Jim Jones, I'm talking Brixton Jim Jones. Daniel, soon come home. Now you can be Jim Jones.
In fact, it was even during this period when Joel Santana was still in the possession of the 031 Bloods that their head honcho Tanner even showed his face and spat some bars to the camera, alongside a very nervous looking Joel Santana.
Backstreet niggas, my niggas, they name known.
Yeah,
these niggas, my niggas, I play chrome.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, around a year after that kidnapping incident, Tanner was actually seen in a video uploaded to Worldstar Hip Hop saying that he had revoked Joel's hood pass, essentially saying that he can't come to the UK unless he taps in with the British Bloods, and throwing up heavy so woo.
Push this from the heart of pump blood, I'm the heart of the hood.
Man, at this way, I'm surprised he didn't throw up a little Outre way. What's even more crazy is that Tanner was even given early shout-outs to French Montana, who had apparently featured him on Cocaine City DVDs back in the day.
Coke, wait. Yeah, we got my dog French. Max, you're done. Max B, we feel your shit here.
Anywho, following all of this bloodshed in the streets in the late noughties, the 031 Bloods and ABM Crips beef continued in the streets into the early 2010s. This included the fatal 2011 drive-by shooting of ABM Crip affiliate Sadiq Adebayi right outside Stockwell Tube Station.
A drive-by shooting from the back of a motorbike with a machine gun.
That seems to be the case at the moment, yes.
The victim was Sadiq Adebayi, who was 24. He lived on an estate just yards from where he was shot. Police chased the motorbike from Stockwell to Battersea. They want to speak to witnesses. 2 men have been arrested.
There was also a heartbreaking 2011 incident where 031 Blood members attacked ABM Crip members on their own turf, resulting in a shootout that wounded a 5-year-old girl. And the killing continued into 2012, when 031 Blood member Pricey, real name Jordan Malutry, was stabbed to death in a Reading nightclub. Now, as time went on, as is the case in hoods and blocks all over the world, as new generations of Gs came up, new alliances, gangs and street cliques begun to emerge. And as the olders that were involved in this gang faded away, into prison, the afterlife, or simply realizing that there's just no future gangbanging in these streets, as the years went by, less and less genuine criminal organisations in London ran their operations under the banner of the Bloods or the Crips. And it seems that for now, at least in the UK, those crews that throw up the red or blue rags are basically just doing it for clout and style points rather than genuine flagging, which in my opinion is kind of for the best. But that's not to say that there aren't still red versus blue gangs operating in other parts of the UK, because let's not forget that Brum rapper Mist also told Constable Vlad that in Birmingham in the north of England there are still plenty gangs that still rep red versus blue.
So you actually have blue and red out here?
Yeah.
So you actually have Crips and Bloods out here?
Not Crips and Bloods, but you got one side that reps blue and one side that reps red, and they don't get along and they don't live too far from each other. In a place that's called Burger Bar Crew, it's not too far from each other. They're red, Burger Bar's red, and Johnson's are blue.
So that's the story of London's forgotten gang war between the 031 Bloods and the ABM Crips. What did you think of it? Let me know in the comments. And do you guys want to hear more UK drill street history stories, hip hop related stuff? I don't know, let me know in the comments. I've been enjoying doing this stuff. It's really fascinating to research and it really lets me put my skills to the test. So if you're enjoying it, let me know in the comments. I'll make some more. If not, let me know too and I'll make something different. It's all love. Thanks so much for everybody that's been supporting recently. Thank you so much for all of the love on my recent Jacksonville Gangs video. That was a hell of a thing to make. I'm really glad that you guys enjoyed it. I'm doing a whole bunch of reactions to that video over on my second channel, Trap Moros, so make sure that you subscribe to that channel. Go and support me over there as well if you want to. If you don't, that's cool. It's whatever, man. It's deuces. Anyway, thanks for watching. Till next time, peace.